Okay, so we're going to work on solving absolute value equations. And I've got a few examples here for you. All right, so to get started, something like number 1, if we have one absolute value, we want to get that all by itself. So this plus 7 here, I want to move to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 7 to get started. So then I have the absolute value of 11y plus 6 equals -4. Okay, now this right here is giving me a red flag because I have an absolute value equal to a negative number. And remember, an absolute value represents a distance from 0. So an absolute value cannot equal a negative number. So when we get something like this, that means no solution. Okay, we cannot have an absolute value equal a negative number. Number 2. All right, so I'm going to start this one off the same way we started number 1. I'm going to get that absolute value by itself, so I'm going to add 11 to each side. So now I have the absolute value of 9z plus 8 equals positive 11. Okay, from here, we are going to split this into 2 directions. Okay, one where we have 9z plus 8 equals 11, and one where we have 9z plus 8 equals -11. And that right there is to represent if we are -11 away from 0, and the first one represents, if we are positive 11 away. Okay, remember this is a distance. Both these distances are positive 11. And then we're just going to solve them like normal, and we'll have 2 answers for this problem. So we're going to subtract 8 and divide by 9 and reduce our fraction. We're going to subtract 8 and divide by 9, and we cannot reduce that fraction. So my 2 answers are 1/3 and -19/9. All right, number 3. So on number 3, I have 2 absolute value equations, so I can't isolate one of these things. So right from here, we're going to split this in 2 directions. The first one, I'm just going to drop the absolute value bars and write it as if it were just a regular equation. 3y minus 5 equals 2y plus 2. For the second equation, I'm going to negate one of my sides. And when I do that, that'll represent that this could be a positive or a negative. So I'm going to leave 3y minus 5. But then I'm going to take this whole side and make it negative. So negative parentheses 2y plus 2. Okay, and I'm going to have to distribute that negative sign. And now I can solve that one like normal. Okay, so I would add 2y and add 5, and then divide. So my first answer is 3/5, or one answer. Okay, over here, I'm going to subtract 2y, so that's y, and add 5. So my other answer is 7. So my answer would be 7, 3/5. Okay. All right, number 4 is similar to number 3. We just have the absolute values on the same side of the equation. So I'm going to move this x minus 1 to the other side by adding it. So now I have the absolute value of x minus 23 equals the absolute value of x minus 1. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to split and go with my 2 equations. So my first equation, I'm just going to rewrite it without the absolute value bars and solve like normal. My second equation, I'm going to negate one side. So I'm going to make this x minus 1 negative. Okay, I need to distribute the negative. And I'm going to solve this guy. So I'm going to add x. So that's 2x, x plus x. I'm going to add 23. 2x equals 24. Divide by 2, so I get 12. Okay. Then over here, I'm going to subtract x. And when I do that, x's cancel on both sides. And I'm left with negative 23 equals negative 21. Well, negative 3 does not equal negative 21. This is not a true equation. So when that happens, this part we will not get an answer for. So we will have no additional answer on this side over here. So with this problem, we actually just have one answer, and it would be 12. All right, that's it for absolute value equations.